Everyone, and welcome back. I'll put my glasses down somewhere. There they are. No, they're not. Oh, there they are. Thank you. So we'll go back to item number 9. Number 10. Hagley Park North tennis court, new floodlights, and we'll start off with asking, are there any questions? We've got staff on board to assist with answers. Who do we have on board?
Derek Rusin and Robert O'Connor.
Derek Rusin and Robert O'Connor are available to answer your questions, councillors, and I'll start with Melanie Coker and then move to Jake McClellan.
Thanks. I think a lot of what my questions are around, obviously, the Civic Trust letter that we've all received. And I think a lot of it seems to have been answered, but I'd really like to hear that, because obviously the Civic Trust is saying that the Hagley Park Tennis Club don't hold a current lease, or they're arguing, and they don't believe that a right to renewal, etc. So basically, could staff comment on that and where the legalese sit around it?
Yes, I can indicate that the club does have a current lease that will, its current term will run to 2024. It is one that the Parks Unit is aware needs to be looked at prior to that time for it to be updated, because the deed of lease is quite dated, 1982, and we need to bring the lease into the contemporary framework.
And just as a follow-up, does it allow for installation of new floodlights? Because they're saying that it doesn't. The current lease doesn't refer to floodlights being a dated deed, but it does refer to any buildings or structures which is floodlights, and the floodlight towers would be considered to be a structure, requires separate council approval. With floodlights on sports fields, normally on sports grounds, the usual process is for us to undertake the process that has been indicated. And normally most of the floodlights don't actually sit on, being on sports fields, are not on leased areas. So the current interpretation of the current deed of lease does indicate that we need a separate approval, which is the process we're going through. And I can reassure that the process that we're following through is the accepted and usual one for dealing with applications for floodlights on sports parks. Thank you.
Thank you. Jake McClellan.
Most of mine covered off with the clear answers to Melanie's question, but I just wanted to maybe as a follow-up ask, why are the trust under the impression that the lease expired in 82? Do you have, I mean, I know you can't necessarily answer why someone else may be under a different opinion, but do you have any comment?
Yes, I can give and if Robert wished to make more comment, but I can indicate that the current deed of lease, it is quite a complex arrangement, but essentially the lease had expired in 2003, and the club had indicated a expression of interest to have their right to have the lease continue. So that applied, and that is what is taking that term now to 2024. As I said, at that time there will need to be another consideration of the status of that lease. So the Parks Unit is well aware that this is probably a reasonable priority to deal with before that time.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Are there any other questions? Would someone like to move the motion? Aaron Kewen. seconded by Tim Scandrett. Is there any debate? I'll put the motion then. If you could indicate if you support the motion by putting up your hand, and if you're opposed to the motion. That is carried. Thank you very much.